This is a shakedown.
Peace. I am Sun Michaud, and as an educator and language advocate, I am all for the evolution of language, words and phrases meaning different things over time. Essentially, I'm a descriptivist, but there are exceptions. There are times when prescriptivism has its place in language, and in fact, those forms of language even have their own name. Prime examples would be medical jargon and legalese. While it's easy to use general terms and swap in one phrase for another on the fly and still be able to communicate with laymen on an everyday basis, that couldn't really work in the context of medical procedures. If there's a miscommunication in medical jargon, there can be grave consequences, quite literally. And the same applies to legalese, the technical language of the trade. There's a reason there are so many different phrases for unaliving a person, because each of those phrases has different circumstances, different statutes involved. So the specificity matters in that process, and we saw that play out with the verdict of George Zimmerman in the Trayvon Martin case. There was no question that George Zimmerman had unalived Trayvon Martin, but the specific wording of George Zimmerman's charge and what the state was tasked to prove is primarily what led to the jury handing down a not guilty verdict. And notice I said not guilty, which is not the same as innocent. Again, legalese. Which brings us to the latest Shannon Sharpe kerfuffle. I don't have anything in particular to add to the tea, but there is something that I want to address about the language that's being used in the discussion. Now, so this video doesn't get taken down, I'm going to have to use euphemisms. The first being PDF file, and the other being grape. If you don't know what those words mean in this context, you're gonna have to ask a neighbor, because I'm not going to explain. That would defeat the purpose of using euphemisms in order for this video to not get taken down. Legally, a PDF file is a person who has an attraction to children. Legally, a child is anyone under the age of 18. Therefore, anyone 18 or over is a legal adult. Doesn't matter if it's 18 or 80, they are both legal adults. So while a wide age gap between legal adults may indeed be predatory, it is not legally PDF-philia. Moreover, while certain forms of play may utilize elements such as CSC, CSC is not grape. The first C in CSC quite literally stands for consent. And yes, that applies to race play as well. Referring to the consensual acts between legal adults as PDF-philia and grape may feel right ethically, and I get it, because of the possible predatory nature of it. But when you flatten out the line between legal and illegal, young adult and child, you unwittingly do harm to the child. When you compare non-consensual violence to a form of consensual play, you do harm to the grape survivor. And I know that there are some folk who lack the critical thinking, or maybe they're just too emotionally invested to really think about what I'm saying, and you will walk away with, there goes Son defending predatory men, or even worse, oh, he sounds like a PDF file himself. Never mind the fact that what I'm saying is actually advocating for the minor, the grape victim, by urging that we remove them from the context that would justify what happened to them as comparable to legal activity. By all means, pile on, say something, continue to speak up. I'm not saying don't say anything. What I'm saying is, let's choose our words more wisely. Find other adjectives that capture your sentiment, but leave certain specific language unambiguous, because that very specific language can be the difference between justice and justice denied. We out, ya.